What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? What's up, Twitter? Hey, it's your boy Billy Ratliff here with the Volunteer Roadshow, man. Hey, got some good things going tonight, man. Got a new guy here with us. He's one of my favorite people that I've just finally met. Another brother here. He's filling in for my boy Catfish tonight. Josh Griffin here on the show, man. Josh, what's going on, man?
Oh, not a whole lot, man. Just excited to be here with a Vol legend like you, sir.
Hey, so guys, Josh, he's gonna be tuning in throughout the whole season here all year long. You're gonna be helping me and Bobby out. In case Bobby's not here, Bobby had to take care of the grandkids or whatever, and having fun tonight. And today is a little bit different show today, man. We're gonna be talking about one of my ex-teammates that's been, going through a little health issues right now. My boy Albert Haynesworth, good friend of mine, and right now, he's going through some very tough times with kidneys failures, and that's a tough situation when you need a organ like that, and he's suffering from that, and hopefully volunteer world, if someone out there could pitch in and help out, maybe be able to donate a kidney and help him out. There is a call in line with Vanderbilt. You guys can call in and check if you are a perfect match to help him out. That's there's so many memories I have with Big Al. I just wanted to kind of put that out there before we start talking about those things. And of course, Josh, you know Albert Haynesworth. I know you remember my guy, man. We in the playing days. What do you remember about Albert, my man?
Big man, big man. Like love to push people around. Um, for somebody who stood so tall, so massive in stature. I also remember him having a big heart too. So I think it's a tragedy what's going on with Albert, but the people might not know this, but I spent a lot of time in the spent the last 15 years of my day job career in the donation business. So I kind of know a little bit about what he's going through. It's a tough process, a tough procedure, and my heart goes out to him. I hope that he's able to find that donor that he needs, and and things go well for him in the recovery process.
I'm a little bit familiar with it too. My little sister just had that, similar procedure where she needed a kidney as well. You know, there's so many reasons to have the procedure that hurts the kidneys. Diabetes, high blood pressure. I'm not sure if that would contribute to, him needing that transplant. But I know my sister. She was really sick for a long time, and I remember her being on the donor list. Not that long ago. I'm saying what, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and she had to have the same procedure. And I remember when she got the call and saying that there was a donor available, that there was a kidney available, and I remember I had to go right that next day to get the procedure and to have the procedure. And when she had it, I remember her before she went down. I talked to her, and of course, my sister, she was really scared or whatever before she had the procedure, and that's part of it. And once she had that procedure, she had to stay in for a little while, and when she went home, she seemed like she was doing fine, but then all of a sudden, she wasn't. It was just that kidney, it didn't accept her body at the fact. They had to, she had to go back down again. They had to get put on some more medications before it started reacting and start helping. And to this day, she is doing amazing. I mean, if you see my sister now compared to where she was back before she had a procedure, she is a totally different world. And I'm just hoping that, someone give that chance to have Albert to help him out to have that procedure, because that is just too young to be having those type of procedures. It's a tough decision, tough world. I mean, health is not that easy anymore. There's so many things that contributes to it. So I do understand what he's going through.
That's right. Um, the modern medicine is marvel to behold, um, and the life changing operation, like such as an organ transplant, can mean the world to somebody. Um, I know the people that I've talked to in the sports writing world and stuff. Even some of the writers have called that number up at Vanderbilt, tried to find out if they're a match, if they could donate, and that just speaks volumes to what Vol Nation, how we all get behind each other.
Well, and that's what it is, man. With the volunteers, you know, world, man, Tennessee, they have always been good to me. And when it comes to the Vols or volunteer world, they come together no matter what, whether you've done something wrong in the past or you doing great, you're down, you're up, they're always going to come together whenever it happens. And I know that it's going to happen. I know he's going to get that procedure done. I don't know how soon it's going to be because it still takes time to realize, if it is a perfect match, it may be something totally different that he still has to go through. But it's going to be a process. But I hope it is quick because you never know how soon or how much longer you have when your organs are not working like that.
Absolutely. I know the pictures that came out of Vanderbilt didn't look too good. Um, what the what the kidney does for the body is so crucial, and to not have either of your kidneys working, it just you feel like you got hit by a train, and it's not good as far as the seriousness of kidney dysfunction is is not something to take lightly. Without your kidneys filtered right, there's a lot of pain. It's not something that anybody wants to go through. So just having one functioning kidney can mean the world to somebody that's having that problem. So um, I know that one thing that we might be able to do here on the Volunteer Roadshow. Uh, Albert's got all these medical things that he's worried about now, but maybe later on after his procedure, he's going to see this podcast, and I think it would be good if we got some of our callers maybe to call in and just give Albert some words of encouragement, some thoughts, some prayers, inspirational quotes, whatever comes to mind. Um, I think Vol Nation could reach out and give him some words of inspiration.
All right, guys, hey, let's get us some callers call in, call the show, 855-489-7623. If you have anything to talk to us about, what I'm saying, don't matter. Hey, matter of fact, if you wanted to talk to Bobby right now, I think he's listening right now. He wouldn't mind answering questions as well. So call in right now, guys. Hey, so I'm telling you a little bit about Albert, man. Albert was one of those guys, man, where when I say, he didn't back down from anybody, no matter who it was, how big, small, or whatever. I remember every day in practice, meeting rooms, he was always chatting or wanting to like maybe just fight in a sense because he had that passion about just being the greatest defensive tackle to ever play the game. And of course, with some of the guys that we played with me, you had like guys like me, Darwin Walker. Who else was out there? Big John Henderson, and we all competing. Rashard Moore. It was so many guys that was there that he had to, pretty much he ended up had to wait until his turn to get in the game. He was third string, but that was tough. There was so many guys rotating in and out like that, and and Albert was just a great guy, man. He was a good guy when he got to the NFL. Even though he had some things that went on, but he was so passionate about the game, and that's something that I always remember about Albert, man. Great guy, man.
Was misfortunate. What was he retired 3 years from the league and had a brain aneurysm,
Yeah, and
and now, yeah, go ahead.
well, I just remember now when when you said that, it just kind of triggered something in my mind as well. You know, when I heard about that, I didn't realize that had happened until, he did tell me about it back in the day when all the after and stuff, but I didn't know it was going on like that. And then now when I was starting to think about it, I was like, maybe that was some of the reasons for some of the times he had some rage or things like that. And, you know, now if you talk to Albert, even now, to me, it's still a totally different Albert. He's changed. He did a 360, a 180, whatever you want to call it. It's totally different guy, man. I know it's when you get older, you get a little bit wiser. and things go so much better. And Albert, he's I'm just hoping he pull it through, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thoughts and prayers to him and his family. I know his family as well. You know, it's one thing to talk about the guy that's going through it, but you got to think about the family too. They're surrounding Albert. They're worried about how things are going to turn out there. Um, I will say this: despise the University of Vanderbilt for what they've done to us the last few years. Um, Vanderbilt Medical Center is probably there's probably no place better for him to be when it comes to something like this.
Well, that's what a lot of people say. I mean, a lot of my friends that are like doctors, nurses, trauma, and it's like they say the exact same thing that you say. You know, Vanderbilt is one of the best places to be, and if you're gonna have situation like that, you know, have some of the best doctors, surgeons in the world that is right there at Vanderbilt. You know, and it's just unfortunate, you know, that he's going through this situation. But you know, I know that he's gonna pull it through. You know, Volunteer Roadshow, we're praying for you. You know, hopefully you get better soon, man. And it just sucks that we have to talk about something like this. And I'm a little passionate. I mean, I get a little bit emotional sometimes, especially when it's like my friends or stuff like that. So this is kind of hard to swallow, but it's just part of life, and we move on from that, and he will get better. I know that.
Absolutely. Hey, we've got our first call in. What do you say we take a phone call? Hey, who do we got on the line here?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Pigskin Pete. What's up, Billy? What's up, fellas? How you guys doing tonight?
Pigskin, how's it going, Pete? How you doing, my man?
I'm amazing and fantastic. Just sitting here listening to you guys, enjoying the show. And as far as Albert goes, listen. You said to give Albert some words of encouragement, and I have no doubt in my mind that Albert will be fine. Somebody will come through with a donation for him. And as a guy that grew up kind of sheltered from the rest of the fan bases down here in South Carolina as a Clemson fan, I could tell you that it wasn't until I came on YouTube that I realized that there's a connection between all of us football fans. Not it doesn't really matter the state line or the city or the university that you care about or you represent. That we're all one big family, and so a lot of the trash talking that goes on this time of year, and I'm guilty of it too, and I'm gonna continue to do it. It's really my bread and butter on YouTube. But when we see a guy like Albert, who's a legend, not only for Tennessee, but a legend in the NFL, I remember watching Albert, especially his years in Indianapolis, is not only one of the great players of all time, but one of the good guys. So I have no doubt that Albert he'll pull through this, and somebody will come through for him, hopefully.
Oh man, thanks, Pete. Man, thanks for calling in, man. You're right, man. I mean, I know someone will come through, man. I mean, and I'm saying this too, man. It don't have to be just anyone from Tennessee. I mean, worldwide, man. I mean, anybody that's out there listening, please pitch in, man. Call in to Vanderbilt Hospital, man. They would be willing to listen to any donor that can help Albert out.
Absolutely.
Abs- Absolutely, Pete. Anything else that you want to say to Albert or Billy or anybody out there listening?
No, I mean, just Billy, we got to get together. I know we've been having a hard time getting together. We're going to get together soon for all the people out in the Volunteer Roadshow that want to hear uh, the Clemson preview for the year. Me and Billy are going to do that. Obviously, I speak with Catfish every week, and too bad Catfish couldn't be on tonight, but we know he'll be back soon. And prayers uh, for Catfish's son too. Let's not forget about that.
Absolutely, yeah. Catfish is out wrangling up grandkids from what it sounded like. You know, we talked to him right before we started the show, and it sounded like a herd of cattle running through his house back there. But yeah, I'm sure he's got his hands full. But hey, he asked me to come fill in, and I was happy to do it. I'm excited about kind of where the show's going, and maybe being able to join in a little bit more and provide a little insight. my opinion on what Tennessee football looks like, what the rest of the SEC landscape looks like. I'm very thankful to Catfish for bringing me on, asking me to fill in for him. I'm kind of a little still starstruck. I'm sitting here talking to ball legend Billy Ratliff, like he's right next door, and one of those guys that without Billy, there's no '98 championship. So it's kind of a life dream for me sitting here talking.
Well, I feel the same way. Then
Absolutely.
you say that you're starstruck, but listening to your resume and talking to you, your passion. I have to brag on you as well, man, because the things that I would never ever think that way. So I'm just happy to have you on the show.
Well, you guys are doing a great job. You guys are doing a great job. Billy, you're doing a great job. And I look forward to seeing more of you, especially once the football season starts. I can't wait to see, you guys react to some of these football games and some of your projections and give a little bit of more insight into the games before they happen. And, instead of just the crazy fans like me who, take everything too seriously. So we can hear an actual real perspective. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thanks, Pigskin, for calling in, man. We'll be talking to you soon, man.
All right, you guys have a good one.
All right, you too, bud.
Well, hey, while you talking, man, I mean, I know we would say we're going to talk a little bit, about Albert. I think we still know that we're going to pray for Albert and make sure he's fine. But something I wanted to talk to you about, I mean, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but I'm still going to do it. I said I
Sure.
wasn't. But, hey, what do you think my boys on the hill going to be like from your perspective, man? How my Vols going to look this year?
2019 season, huh? All right. Um, there's a lot of question marks. I'll say that. Um, there's also been a little bit of buzz coming out of the national media, so that's probably a good thing. ESPN pulled them in at, I believe, number 15 in the FPI rankings. Um, but to me, the FPI rankings just tell us what we should be. With the talent level that we have, where should we be by the time the season's over? I don't think that that's where we're going to be, but I think that that speaks to the talent level that we've had from Pruitt year one to Pruitt year two come in. You got a little bit more experience under everybody. I think can't remember which outlet reported it, but somebody reported recently that Tennessee is the second most experienced personnel program in the SEC. So I think that speaks well to how the Volunteers are going to come out when the season's all said and done. I see a few losses that it could go either way. You never know with Georgia. We have a reputation of being ranked low in the rankings and still giving Georgia a fit when they're ranked 1, 2, 3 in the nation. So that game to me, I never want to throw money on Georgia versus Tennessee. On paper, Georgia should take care of business, but we kind of got a little bit of voodoo over them, like Florida's got over us at times. So when it's all said and done, I think Tennessee ends up with 9 wins, including the bowl win. So they'll go 8-3 in the regular season. Or I'm sorry, 8-4, and then end up the season 9-4.
I mean, I take that. I mean, that's a big improvement from last year. I mean, especially at least going to a bowl game. I mean, I keep saying, I mean, those kids need to experience going to a bowl game just so they can understand what winning is about. And hopefully that he'll get a bit better. Hey, so what do you think about Pruitt, man? You think he's the guy? What you think about him?
Here's my take on Jeremy Pruitt. We tried our hand at hiring MAC coaches and WAC coaches and these unproven guys from lower ranking conferences, hoping that we would roll the dice and come out with a shiny new coach. Um, Things started to look a little bit bright there for Butch Jones. I know people like to run him down because of that 4-8 season, but everybody seems to forget that if it hadn't been for a bunch of injuries in that 2016 season, um, we could have we could have really done some damage there. I mean, we started off the season, we beat Georgia and Florida. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that for a Tennessee fan. Then injuries plagued us. Um, we got we got an L handed to us by Texas A&M, and what was it, like 4 or 5 overtimes? I can't remember. But other than that, everything looked really really good. And then South Carolina came around. Vanderbilt took care of business. The injuries just plagued us. So I think, had it not been for those injuries, we might be singing a little bit of a different tune when it comes to Butch Jones. But then the following season showed that maybe his recruiting was a little bit empty. It was a little hollow. Looked really good on the outside, but there wasn't much substance to it. That's been, since the end of the Fulmer era, that's been, the story of Tennessee football. Then we bring in Jeremy Pruitt, and by talking to him, by listening to him, that there's substance there, that he's a football guy, he knows what he's doing. I think he just doesn't have the personnel in place that he would like to have, obviously. So, so to me, a 5-7 season under Jeremy Pruitt feels like we hit the reset button. With Derek Dooley, we didn't hit the reset button. With Lane Kiffin, we didn't hit the reset button. With Butch Jones, we didn't hit the reset button. I think that we had to go through Lane Kiffin, um, Derek Dooley, and Butch Jones to get to a point where we pulled the cartridge out of the Nintendo, we blew it off, we stuck it back in, and now we're ready for the game, right? Um, it feels like we've got a solid foundation here. I know Butch Jones liked to talk about brick by brick and building a good foundation. But we saw with that 4-8 season that he had not built a good foundation. That building toppled over as soon as the Derek Dooley players left the roster. So with Pruitt, I think he's there's no better defensive recruiter in the country. I think he knows how to bring the right kind of talent in, whether it's 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. You notice he's not looking at stars very much, whereas with Butch Jones, it was see how many 4 and 5 star guys that you could get, and then fill in the gaps with 3-star guys to get that recruiting ranking up. With bring in quality talent, and it may not be that we're being flooded with 4 or 5 stars now, but you can see the physical build of these guys, the athletic tools that they have, and you can watch their recruiting tapes, and man, it just gets you really excited about the direction that Tennessee football is headed. We may not be, you know, competing for the SEC in the next year or 2 or 3, but I think in that 3 to 4 year range, we could be, standing toe to toe in the SEC championship game with whoever's on the top of the West at that time.
Well, hey, I'm glad you said all that, man, because it sounds like you know what you're talking about, man. You sound exactly like me. I'm just wanting my Vols to get back to winning, just competing, man. I mean, forget the stars, forget that. Let's get players in here to go out there and kick some butt, man, just to be competing again. Because I mean, these last few years, it just wasn't what we wanted. I mean, we always had these slogans and everything just to get us really hyped up and ready to go play ball, and we're thinking we're gonna get 8 wins, but then we got 4 wins. But so yes, I'm hoping Jeremy finally get these guys pumped up enough to do it. And like I said, I mean, you talking about a legend. Everybody, this is Josh Griffin, guys. This guy is going to be on the show with us, man, filling in for Catfish. He will be with us all season. Hey, Will, if Catfish not on with us, Josh will be here with me. I'm here permanent. I ain't going nowhere, so we're just gonna be having fun all year, guys. And Josh, man, hey, thanks for coming on with us, man, because this is about to be so much fun. We're gonna have a good time this year, man. I promise
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So my background is that of a writer. I started off writing mostly trash talk online to this, um, and some guys from the Rivals crew apparently came across some of my little columns and rants that I would go on. They pulled me into to the Rivals family. I worked with Rivals for a while. Got sent over to the University of Houston Rivals site, the CougarsDen.com, and wrote a lot of articles for those guys, and really enjoyed it. Hey, I like football. I was getting paid to write about college football, and that was fun. Then we started up a podcast, and the whole time that all this is kind of happening, I felt like I should be really happy that I'm getting to write about college football, but all I could think about was, man, I need to get where I can write about Tennessee, where I can talk about Tennessee. So, talking to Catfish a couple weeks ago about, hey, coming over and why don't you come talk a little bit about Tennessee football? Man, that's huge for me. I spent a little time with some guys over at a show called the All Ball Call-In Show. Um, John Dunn and the guys over there, they do a phenomenal job. Loved working with them. Still plan to maybe work with them a little bit, and if they get that thing up and going, they've got a huge following over there, but I see it going bigger places. So really thankful to those guys for that opportunity. And then, like I said, a couple weeks ago, Catfish gives me a ring and says, "Hey, you want to come talk a little Tennessee football over here on the Volunteer Roadshow?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. I've seen a couple of the videos and stuff from your guys' podcast." He said, "Would you like to go on with Billy Ratliff?" And I said, "Man, I've made it." So that's it. That's kind of my background. So another thing that we talked about over on the Volunteer Roadshow website is putting out some written content articles and things that people can read. Whenever I would love to sit here and just broadcast with you 24/7, so people can plug in and get their Vols news and their Vols info. But unfortunately, that's not realistic. So we're going to try to throw a little bit of written content out on the website for people to read in the meantime. So I'm excited to kind of start that one. Looks like we've got another phone call. If you're ready to take it, we've got General Recruit. Let's get him on the line. Hey, General, how's it going?
Hello.
you. Are you there?
It's going good. How y'all doing?
We're doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, and I saw you all were talking about recruiting and about how it differs from the Butch Jones years. And I thought I would add something to add about that. And I thought it was very interesting because Butch Jones and Jeremy Pruitt, when it comes to recruiting, they couldn't really get any more different. I mean, like you said, Jeremy Pruitt, he's going after the big guys. He's going after Kim Jarrett, Eric Gilbert, 5 stars. While Butch Jones was just trying to pad on 3 stars and 4 stars to help the recruiting class ranking go up. And as where Pruitt is just going after the big guys. And I think that's the way to win when you go after highly rated guys instead of just trying to get as many players as you can in a class.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong either. Butch Jones was recruiting for guys that could run his system. The problem was that his system was, consisted of small, quicker moving offensive linemen that could pull really quickly, get the ball outside, and create space on the edges. The problem was that the SEC found that out really quickly, and they ate it up. And then when they had to start going up the middle, we didn't really have the personnel to push these SEC defensive linemen and linebackers around. And we'll just say he got exposed really quickly. Now, he was able to do some things whenever he had some of Derek Dooley's recruits, because Derek Dooley as poorly as he managed the game, he was able to bring in SEC talent. Some of the players that played on Derek Dooley's teams uh, are playing in the NFL or did at one time. So so Butch Jones got to kind of feed a little bit off of that talent, and I think he made a living there for a couple of seasons. But then whenever he had his own guys, his true guys for the system that he likes to run, it got a little hairy. I mean, I after that Georgia Tech game, I thought, hey, we might be all right. Josh Dobbs gone, um, and Alvin Kamara and all those guys. But you know, at that time, I was still thinking, hey, Georgia Tech's probably a pretty good team. Turned out not to be the case, and we just got lucky and pulled out a win that we probably shouldn't have gotten. Um, but yeah, is that you have any other words on recruiting that you got there, General?
Yeah, and one more thing, and then I'll get off of here and let y'all get another call. Uh, when you look at some of the big targets Tennessee has on the board, like Kim Jarrett, Eric Gilbert, Darnell Washington, Reggie Grimes, when you look at these guys, Tennessee has a potential to land, and they're all up there in the recruiting rankings. They're now competing with teams like LSU, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia in recruiting, which is something that Tennessee didn't really do under the first year of Jeremy Pruitt. And that's when you can start getting players that fit the SEC system and start winning ultimately. Yeah, I think Jeremy Pruitt's doing a great job on the recruiting trail. It's just going to come down if he can develop this these recruits into SEC caliber players.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing that I have learned about Pruitt, and what I've heard about Pruitt is, it's you saw him developing a lot of kids that he had just this past season. For him to put in freshman corners like that, and pray and hope that they slow these receivers down in the SEC, that comes to show that he trusts those kids and he's developed those kids to become what his system's going to be like. And in the SEC, freshmen don't do that well typically in the SEC. And with the recruits that he's bringing in, you know, it's all about developing. That's where I always say, let's take the stars out of place, because I know there's been 5-star players that play like 1-stars, and I've seen 1-star players develop into a 5-star, and that's something that I remember when I was being recruited. I mean, even in those days, I don't even know what kind of star I was. I just played football to the best of my ability, and the star that I like was the heart, the passion, and they want to play for the coach and believe in what he's doing. And that's something that these players haven't had yet in the past 5 or 6 years or longer, is having someone that they trust, that they understand, that they can relate to. And those are the kids that are coming to the school now, because Jeremy knows what it takes to win, the type of player to win. You need kids that's going to want to take care of each other. When it comes to recruiting, I don't put that into place when it comes to playing football, because when you're recruiting a kid, you recruit them because they can play football. So that's out the door. We know these kids can play. They're the best in the world that does this here. So until they learn how to become one whole and go out here and play as a team, it's never going to work. But I know Jeremy has finally put that in place, and it's coming. He's bringing it back.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any question that he's going to develop the talent. The question that unfortunately that we're left with because of the two past coaches, some would argue three with Lane Kiffin, is that can he bring the talent in? I think that it's going to be. It all comes down to this season, to be honest with you. I know that things don't look great for us right now. 4-8, 5-7. Not making a bowl game in the last 2 years, dropping 2 in a row to Vanderbilt. I mean, things don't look good for the program right now. But with the experience that the players have, we should be able to generate some wins based on experience and talent on the field alone. And we're going to have to get that 8 or 9 win season for Jeremy Pruitt to be able to go out to recruits, to sit in their mother's living rooms and sell this program to them, to tell them, hey, look, we were this squad of guys was 4-8 under Butch Jones in his last year. I brought them to 5-7 the next year. This last season, we went, 8-4, 9-3. We got a bowl win at the Outback Bowl or the Gator Bowl or whatever it may be, and we did that all in a 1 year turnaround. So imagine that what we can do with a 5-star guy like you, with a guy with the toolbox that you've got. I think that's the key to Jeremy Pruitt having success at Tennessee. If it's another bad year, I don't think it's going to be, and Tennessee fans are going to blame Jeremy Pruitt for his coaching. It's not going to be his coaching. It's going to be just an inability to get talent in. I think that Fulmer's going to give him 4 or 5 seasons, whether he's got some success or not, unless we just have some kind of off-the-wall 0-win season or something like that. I don't really foresee his seat getting hot until we're 4 or 5 years into this experiment. But I think we may get to see him take some of those 3-star guys, those 4-star guys, and develop them into NFL tier talent, and then that will also help with some of the recruiting. Just want to take a second real quick, too, to look at we've got Stephen Deal here on Facebook, Augusta Ratliff, McNeil, Dustin Graham, one of our top fans. Comment section's going crazy all of a sudden, so you guys keep those coming. What's up to everybody? Dustin Graham says, "What's up, Billy?"
Man, I don't see any of those things, man. I'm trying to find them, but I don't see it at all.
Yeah, it's I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but I know Catfish told me be sure to stay in that comment section.
Well, the thing is,
So
I've always told them
yeah,
I don't see them. I'm like, where are they at? Show me. And I'm like, I see it here, but there's nothing coming up down here.
absolutely. Yeah, it's I can see them. These guys are. I think we had a John Dunn on there earlier. I mentioned earlier from Law Collins show. I think he writes for a small paper up in Kentucky now. Well, I shouldn't say small. I don't know how big the paper is, but I know he's gotten his credentials to get down to media days coming up soon, and he's really excited about that. So it's his first trip down there. That's uh, that's something. I went last year just on a whim. I decided, hey, I'm gonna up and run down, check out media days. I went down there on Tennessee's day. Of course, it wasn't in Hoover. It was down at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. So that was a sight to see, man. Anybody who considers himself a college football fan ought to get down there. But back to the recruiting, I just see a much better skill set coming out of the guys that Pruitt's bringing into the program. That's my opinion as a writer, as an observer, as somebody who sits on the sidelines now. I played high school football in a small town in Texas, 2A high school. We played both ways, so I know what it means to grind it out. But I've never played at the level you played at, Billy. So at the coming in, let's say this 2020 class, which of those players to you, who are you looking at to make a in the upcoming season for well, a 2020 player would be playing in the next season possibly, but what under Jeremy Pruitt then for a player that Jeremy Pruitt has recruited, who are you excited the most to see when they get on the field?
Josh, can you hear me, man?
Hey, Bit. Yeah, I can hear you.
I, I think we got some technical difficulties. Something's going on with my.
Uh-oh. That's all right. Billy, can you hear me?
Hey, hello, Josh.
Yeah, I
Okay,
can you hear me?
I can hear you now, man. I don't know what's going on, man. Something's going on with our system here. I don't like that.
Okay. I, the miracle of modern technology.
All right, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But hey, we're gonna keep going, man. We still got a little bit more time here on the call here, man. I'm quite sure you said a lot there, but I didn't get most of it because I had something going on. Maybe it was the internet or something right here. But
That's that's all right. I'll sum it up. I'll just ask you again real quick. Um, the question that I had is, me as a writer, I observe these recruits coming in, and I've got my opinions about them. But under Jeremy Pruitt, which recruit are you the most excited to see on the field?
man, I'm trying to remember. I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna say that the two tackles that are coming in, the incoming freshmen. I'm kind of excited because those, when you have young kids like that coming as freshmen, and we need those guys this year because offensive line is going to be our toughest position this year to protect our quarterback. He took a beat in these last few seasons, and hopefully Cheney can slow that down with some new stuff. But the two tackles that are coming in, I know they're probably going to get to play this year. And normally I don't say offensive lineman because typically we're loaded at offensive line, but being that we have yet to have
Yeah.
a real offensive line in the past year with all the injuries and transfers coming in and trying to help out, I think we're finally going to have these guys come in and play well. And I think we're going to do well with these guys protecting the quarterback this year. So the two tackles, the freshmen, are who I'm looking for to step up this year.
Yeah, I think offensive line is key. That I can't tell you how many times I threw something at the TV last season saying, "Man, if Jerry Garantano just had, you know, 2 seconds to develop a play, this team would be pretty dangerous." And we saw him kind of turn it loose a little bit against Auburn. Um, I remember going into that Auburn game, somebody asked me, how bad do we think Tennessee's going to lose to Auburn? And I told them I think Tennessee's going to beat Auburn. They looked at me like I was funny, and I was not joking in any way, shape, or form. I just had a feeling that they had been running that ball and up against a brick wall long enough that they were going to just cut it loose. Just let you're trying to grip it and rip it. Not sure why they stopped doing it for the rest of the season because it seemed to be working. I guess probably just for the health of the players and looking into the future. They kind of knew, hey, we're not looking at a bowl game this year or anything like that. Let's try to preserve some player health. Let's not go, hail mary every play. But when they were slinging that ball around and Garantano had a little bit of time to throw, and they let him roll out, a little bit. You got to see the talent of the wide receivers group, and we've got a lot of big body. I mean, they're not the fastest in the world, but they're big bodied. They're tall. They can go up and get the 50-50 ball. I hate using that term because the media is overusing it whenever they talk about our wide receiver crew. But it's true. I mean, they can go up and get that ball. So with I think with Jim Chaney's offensive system, he likes that dip and dive kind of get rid of the ball really offense. You'll see Garantano thrive a little bit. I don't say this often about quarterbacks, but I think that he needs to take about 10% off of his throw. If he would take 10% off, his receivers would probably have a little bit more success catching it. He, uh, he rips it whenever he throws it, whether he's throwing it 2 feet away or 40 yards down the field. And I mean, I'm glad we've got a player on our team that plays with that kind of enthusiasm. But I think he'll learn quickly in this short pass system that taking a little bit off or leading the receiver a little bit more accurately will benefit him in the long run. And you're going to see Garantano become a player that we haven't seen him become yet. He'll get into that short pass game, and then I think right whenever you've got people, that box closing in, and the linebackers, playing a little closer to the line, and that's whenever he's going to send one downfield. And Tennessee will have a lot more success on offense than they had last season. I think we had one of the worst offensive productions, if not the worst offensive production in the conference last year. So it's nowhere to go but up.
All right, you're right about that, man, because, he did get beat up a lot last year. Offense, they were successful at sometimes. And, like you said, I mean, you said the 10% takeoff, I don't care about the offense or whatever. I'm a defensive man. So, but yes, I understand what you're saying because he did have a lot of throws that were either over, some that was under. But, it's tough, man, when you know in the back of your mind you might get hit and you got to throw this ball hoping that you don't get hit. It's tough as a quarterback, man. That's what defenses strive off of. I mean, we love to eat the quarterback, and if we're in the quarterback head, this is going to be a very easy game for us. But that's something that I'm hoping and praying that they chop it down. If we can't do 5-step drop backs, let's cut it to 3. 1, 2, 3. Get rid of the ball. Get to the receiver the ball quick and let those guys make some plays because we got a lot of receivers that can make plays, and that's something I don't think we utilized well last year. If you don't have an offensive line, as an offensive coach or coordinator or team, you have to make it the short game. If you don't have the short game or if you don't have the run game, this is going to be a very long game. So hopefully, this year, that's going to transition and they overcome that, which is something that, we're going to discuss in the next couple of shows, start, breaking down Tennessee position by position, and hopefully everybody's still tuning in or whatever. But hey, guys, hey, Josh, you have any more calls on hold or anything right now, man? I mean, I didn't get this. No one showed me how to use the
Uh,
switchboard, so I'm listening.
no, looks like the lines are clear right now.
Okay, well that's cool,
Um,
man.
the, uh, I know Catfish did want us to mention that upcoming positional breakdown. We're going to go through position group by position group and do uh, a little opinion slinging back and forth at one another. So that's coming up. Those will be recorded videos. They won't be live, from what I understand. If I'm wrong, Billy, you can correct me on that. But I believe that those are recorded videos.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're doing everything right. I mean, that's what we're gonna do. We do a
Yeah,
lot of that. We're gonna have fun with it anyway, man. So let's see, man. Everybody's in and send us in the shots. Hey, but hey, guys, hey, we're gonna go ahead and close the show up, man, for the night. I'm glad you guys watched us. We're gonna have some fun. Like I said, Josh, he will be here with us from time to time as far as live shows, and he's going to be doing a lot of writing and helping us out with the website. There's a lot of new things that we got coming. Even the new stuff we're going to have at the season beginning coming out to Hound Dogs, with our sponsors and stuff. And also just want to say, guys, don't forget to like, share, please subscribe if you don't mind. We love that, and we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a lot of good new things, and Catfish will be back next week. Hopefully, he's having too much fun right now without us. I guess he's just don't want to be with us, but I know he does. So hey guys, hey, thanks for watching. We love y'all. And I normally, Catfish have a little outro or whatever he does, but I'm not gonna do it. I don't want to mess that up for him. But hey, I'm gonna say what I always say: Go Vols.
amen. Go Vols.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, it's a good show, man.
All right. Are we off?
Yeah, I think we're off here. Just see.